Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand Fan Forum. 3 points and it's 2-0 to Manchester United away at Nottingham Forest. A really good performance, a really solid performance, and it's good to get another away win after our little bit of shaky away form. We've got a win in the bag and we've struggled a little bit against lower teams this season, and we managed to get 2 goals over the line with a lot of injuries, so we're very, very happy about it. And we've got a different kind of panel today. As we said, Ricky's away, he's away for a few games. Faz is very annoyed he's not here right now. There was a big mix-up with the schedule. But we have 2 brilliant guests as well as Kev on as usual. We have AA, Nuruddin and Kev. So welcome everyone to the show, especially Nuruddin. Is it your first time on the forum?
Yeah.
First time on the forum today. Debut on the forum. Debuting it with a win. We love to see it.
We'll rate you at the end of the forum. We give you a panel rating, you say so.
Can I just pull up that you said 2 brilliant guests and Kevin? I think that's a bit harsh.
Oh, sorry.
I think that's a bit harsh.
She said the usual.
I thought I heard that, yeah.
Do you know what it is? It's like with Casemiro. He sets the bar so high every single week.
Oh,
I just
digging
forget.
now. She's absolutely digging now.
You better watch out, Beth, because I said I want to sit in the Godfather seat today just to see if you spout all kinds of mental stuff. So I'm going to be like cursed. I can feel it already. I'm ready to rumble, even though we won 2-0.
Yeah,
I'm
don't
ready
worry
for it,
everyone
man.
as well. We've got some of Ricky's opinions that I am going to read out in a little bit as well. He sent me, and I think he's watching live as well. So yeah, having fun from Spain.
Big up,
I mean, I'm glad you don't have to sit here and say some of the things you've sent me, but we'll get some of them. We'll get some of them out there. But everyone, I mean, 2-0. It's a good result. AA, I'll come to you first on my left. I mean, what did you make of the overall performance? To be honest, for me, it was better than expected.
Oh, absolutely. I think, actually, I thought we managed it really, really well. I was quite impressed with the way we played, the way we handled it. A lot of the players really stepped up to the plate. You know, I think there was a lot of apprehension in the fan base, given who was going to play centre-back, which I'm sure we will definitely be touching on. And it didn't start too well. It seemed frantic. It seemed proper end-to-end. And an away performance you would expect at a ground like that. Like you say, we've struggled at grounds like that this season and in the past as well. But to come away with a clean sheet again, you know, David De Gea will be happy with that, as I'm sure you'll attest to, Beth. And
he's getting already.
Shots fired.
No, do you know what? I'm in Faz's seat. I'm in the Faz seat, so I feel like I've got to be like Faz.
I got rid of him since. I'm joking, Faz. I'm joking.
And obviously you've brought David Raya back again. I feel like I am the only reason I'm here, because I remind you of David Raya. But no, I think it's a brilliant performance.
Get your goalkeeper gloves on.
Yeah, and we'll touch on the man of the match and the people that played really well. But to come away and after yesterday's results, I'm buzzing, and we should be happy and look on to Thursday for sure. Definitely.
I mean, Nuruddin as well. You always have quite a positive outlook on things, I feel like.
You want with me watching the game with him, because it was different there.
It shows you don't follow me on Twitter.
I know, but when I see clips of you and stuff, I swear it's always pretty positive. You're just talking about the FA Cup. You think we can beat City? Come on, you just say
I'm afraid of Brighton, but I think we can beat City if we get to the final. Today, you know what? By any means necessary. I put the tweet, I was like, I don't care how you play. I don't care. I just want 3 points. As soon as I see the results from Spurs and Newcastle yesterday, I was like, United have to take advantage of this. And it was a bit shaky to begin with. You know who.
Yeah, we'll get on to it. Let's not beat around the bush. It was Maguire.
But you know what? Listen, I actually think he worked out better. That Sabitzer got in. I mean, it's not the fact that he's injured, but Eriksen started. I really thought that a lot of the times we kept possession and we controlled it. There were times when we were losing the ball, but I thought Antony, you know what I mean, come centrally. And I'm just happy for Antony Martial as well, because, you know, old Antony Martial does not fight for that ball. And the goal comes. But Navas, you did your best today to try to keep Man United out. But by how many shots we had, the chances we created, there was a space of 10 minutes where we just, I don't know what we were doing. Peppering them. So I'm happy, like 3 points, happy. Even though we got 11 players out.
And we should have scored a few more, I actually think, as well. I mean, I know that the injury list is going crazy. Quite a few people have joined the United Stand Members Club, so thank you for that. I mean, Mark sent everyone down saying, sit down, Beth. What am I sitting down for? What am I sitting down for? I mean, that was a normal goalkeeping performance where I got bullied on every single cross into the box, I thought. I mean, just my opinion. But anyway, again, we'll come on to it. I mean, if you talk about targeting, that was major. But I thought David De Gea handled it well. I thought he had a decent performance, but not sure why I'm sitting down acting like he's had a worldie or something. He was far from it. I mean, Kev, we'll come to you next. I mean, the injury list is piling up. So bits added to that now. Malacia not in the squad, got a knee problem. But do you know what? Today I thought we covered it really, really well. Apart from the obvious, but do you see are you more confident now with Man United getting through this patch of games without some of the key players?
That's the only reason why I would slightly disagree with what you just said. It is vital that we got the 3 points today, especially with the likes of Tottenham and Newcastle slipping up. But you could tell by the substitution today that Ten Hag has clearly got one kind of eye on Thursday evening. I wanted to see a bit of a performance to give me a bit of confidence going into Thursday, because I'm kind of looking, we're all the same today. It was almost like the end of the world. Martinez going off injured, Varane, Luke Shaw out, and it's like the whole, Rashford out, and we're like, how are we even going to put a team out here? On the Harry Maguire, I'm sure we're going to get to it, but I've asked myself so many times this question about who the worst signing United have ever made. Today has just sealed for it. I think it's reaffirmed what I already knew, but today it just hit home. He is for the amount of money United have spent on him, to see that performance today, to get booked after 3 minutes, wrestling, 2, whatever it was, and then to protest that as if to say it's not a foul. I'm like, this guy, man, as I call him, the man with the massive head. The thing is, his ego's that big. It must just be inside. That's why his head's that big. It's unbelievable that he's even getting in this team. And I know I'm sat in Ricky's chair, and Ricky would be saying, we need to get Luke Shaw back. We really do. My worry is that we will not drop Harry Maguire. I don't understand why. Why is he untouchable?
WWF, mate.
That's what you said to me, didn't you? We were talking about, maybe he needs to make the switch, get into that.
Honestly.
Well, he can wrestle people to the floor. But I'm telling you now, I think he's the worst signing. I've seen Bebe, Kleberson, the players through the years. Jemba. Even if you wanted to argue Alexis Sanchez, Varane for the money and the package and that, he's the worst player. Did that pass today? Do you see him just play the ball out of play?
Oh, the crowd were on him as well.
I'm just like looking and going, seriously? And again, he's trying to blame somebody else.
You know what he does as well? He does something wrong, and then he looks up and he goes, something like, Antony. It's in that position.
It's a reflex. With him, it's a reflex. Listen, I've got a coaching badge, level 1 and 2, because I did a sports degree. I'm a guy who lives in Hume. Before Man United bought Maguire, I said, he's not the guy. How do I know? There are people at Manchester United getting paid millions to make a decision to get that guy. Defending is all about competency. He is not somebody who's competent. He's not that guy. I remember watching the game. He had a good game, actually, in terms of, he scored for Leicester against the Scousers, but he's defending. He was never a Manchester United player. No. If you know what Man United player is, he's not Martinez's. And like I said, I'm still heartbroken. I'm still devastated.
The only people that think Harry Maguire is a decent player is Harry Maguire, his missus, and his brother, who's very active on social media, defending him all the time. Apart from that, unless you're in that little circle, I've seen enough. And that's
unless
my
you're
worry.
Gary Neville, where you do PR for him. When you're Gary Neville, you do PR for him, because Keane was calling him out. And then Keane started backtracking. You could tell Gary's had a word with him, saying not to be too harsh on him.
My friend messaged me today. My friend's a City fan, unfortunately. And they messaged me and they went, I'm not joking, he's the worst centre-back in the league.
He's terrible.
The thing is, you can't train pace. It's not like the one fundamental of football, especially in the Premier League, is pace. He's never ever going to improve speed-wise. So in a foot race, he's never going to win. That's why he got booked after 2 minutes. He couldn't deal with that. He knew that ball over the top, and he was in trouble. That's why he wrestled him to the floor.
Noureddin touched on it about moments, and this guy lives off moments. Any good moment that he has in the game, you see it packaged up and put on Twitter like he's dropped a Baresi or a Maldini every single game. He lives off moments. But like you say, any ball in behind and he's scrambling. And this is the problem that we find with ourselves, that we struggle to play the football that we want to play under Ten Hag, because this guy is an anchor. He's an anchor in the worst possible way. Like, you talk about, moments and goals. If he had a normal sized head, that goal on Thursday doesn't go in because it goes wide. Because his head's so big, because of his ego, it's an own goal. I agree with you. I think he's the worst signing Manchester United have ever made. And a lot gets made of Antony and his price. And when he does something wrong, it's capitalised on and inflated. let's look at Maguire, because for 80 million, it's a disgrace.
Do you know what it is with Maguire? I think because we're so past the point of like we know how terrible he is. For some reason today, I kind of went into the game thinking he might have a good performance. Like I had hope about that after he's had a few steady games.
Hoping more than anything.
Like he was getting criticised his last game. I thought he actually did all right. I mean, the own goal wasn't really his fault. But, you can expect it from him. But today, I just went into that game thinking he might show something. But again, it was
even the handball. I'm thinking this would have just. Like the week.
It's always him, innit?
Yeah.
The week.
And even though you watch it back and you are worried because you think, even if he didn't mean it, there's 3 United players jumping for the ball, which is crazy in itself. Who's shouting? Is he not the captain? Would you not say, why is nobody shouting? But then for it to hit his hand, and I'm thinking, they're going to go to VAR. And after the shaky start he'd had, you're almost in the position where you think, if they give a penalty here and Forest score and go 1-0 up, you're going to have to bring Maguire off. Yeah. It was that bad. Yeah.
Did anyone here think it wasn't a penalty? Because I was convinced it was going to be.
It looked like it was a penalty for me because his arm is a bit up. His arm's not like
We've
there.
Seen him given, haven't we?
Yeah. And luckily, the referee, that's the only decision I think we got today from that referee. But the biggest thing for me is that centre-half, defending, what you're looking for is at the critical moments in a game, can your centre-half be competent? Can they deal with it? Can they be calm in that mad craziness? And Maguire panics in those moments. Now, some people will say, to be objective, they'll say, you know what, he had a steady game. Yeah, because our midfield kept the ball. To be fair, Casemiro was good, Eriksen was good, Bruno was good. Do you know what I mean? We kept the ball and we limited them to free kicks and corners. And come on, they've lost 10 in a row now. They've not won in 10 in a row. So we're playing against a team that is very low on confidence, right? We're just happy because obviously we've had all these injuries, so we're happy to get the win. But Nottingham Forest is a team that Man United should be beating. You know what I mean? Yeah. But especially when they're in a bad run, their record at home is mid-table form. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They win games at home, and honestly, all you have to do is score against them.
And their home crowd is up for it, and I thought we did well against that. I mean, we've got a couple super chats in here from. Coldwater says, Martial is still not a true number 9 that we can rely on when it comes to crunch time. There are crosses from Bruno, but our number 9 is in the box.
True.
I mean, I think everybody knows that.
He's our only number 9.
We do need a number 9, but I mean, Jesus, Nora, he's one of the he's one of the our best technical players. And I thought, again, today, he showed that. And plus, if you're asking me, Martial Weghorst, I mean, come on.
Well, like you said for the first goal, Martial of a year ago, when he seemed a bit disinterested and people were questioning his attitude, does he want to be at United? He loses that ball. The Martial of old, it would have been the hands in the air, going mental. Today, you didn't see that. He's straight in, closes down, wins that ball, bang, bang, and United are 1-0 up. And it was through Martial and that drive and determination.
Going off that super chat, he's saying, he's not in the box when we need him. I think the problem with Martial is he's dropped so deep and he's so technical and he draws the defenders out. What he needs is a Rashford and on the other wing, someone who's fast and running in behind. You don't have that with Antony and Sancho because they're not quick wingers in that way. So we do lose that number 9 running into the box. And there's a few moments he could have had a hat trick with some of the balls that were going into the box today, I think. But would you lose that number 9 running into the box for everything else he brings you in the game? Personally, I think I would. I think what he adds to this team and the way we play is so much better with Antony Martial in the side.
And it's like even Antony, I think, is playing better.
Unbelievable.
Listen, everybody, because what he does, he connects everybody. He connects our midfield. Yeah, he literally he connects the wingers who are on the left, on the right, connects the midfield, connects with Bruno, because you play that ball into him, he's either gonna drop a shoulder, get away from the defender, or he's going to hold it and give it back to you.
It's not a coincidence that Sabitzer had his best game when he was starting with Martial and they were alternating in that kind of dropping in, dropping out. He has been great. We'll talk about him a little bit more, but a lot of the chat are getting comments in, which I wanted to come to next, especially after talking about Maguire. We went a bit early on that topic, but it has to be said.
Sorry, I had to get it in.
And Eric Gustafsson, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, said a lot of talk about Harry and Shaw, but not a single word about Lindelof. He was flawless today, and yes, I'm Swedish. And a lot of the chat saying that was Lindelof's best performances, one of best performances. I said before, it annoys me that he gets tarnished with the same brush as Maguire, because Lindelof is a very competent centre-back that has the ability to play for Man United. Maybe not first team every single week, but he's definitely got the ability, and he can put in performances like that. Maguire, for me, is like you can just tell
he's
not
practically
good
playing at centre-back on his own today, and that's
he
what makes
always has
Lindelof's performance look even more impressive.
Exactly, and usually he always has to play alongside him. He had a few games with Martinez, and I thought he looked really good. And I mean, Double A, will come to you on this one. Lindelof, I mean, talk about Maguire and Lindelof, like who's going in the summer and stuff like that, but I mean, great performance from him.
Oh yeah, I think I echo what everyone is saying. He's shown that when he's alongside a competent defender, he has a lot of attributes that are worthy of being in this Manchester United team. Yes, he has weaknesses which can get highlighted. Sometimes his strength in the air isn't as good, and he does, for me, lack a little bit of concentration at times. But when he's with a Martinez or Varane, he's proven to me he's a very capable defender, and I think, you believe the rumours, he's the one that wants to play first team football, which he should at his age. Maybe that's the reason why he will probably go before Maguire goes in the summer, sadly. But let's not kid ourselves. He was an absolute beast in that defence today, and marshalled it really, really well. There was some really nice, clever movements, getting himself out of trouble, playing the ball out. I really like Victor Lindelof, and like you say, it's really sad for him that he's been lumped in another, McFred and Maguire. He's been lumped in that because of what's happened last season. But he shines on his own, and he deserves to have that chance away from Maguire, because Maguire drags everyone down. Like I say, he's the anchor that we don't need. But Lindelof today, hats off, because you played really well and should be proud of his performance.
Yeah, a few really nice turns coming out of the box as well, passing it through midfield, taking note of Martinez, I know Martinez's injury is obviously horrible, but I feel like, when you're playing with these players and you're watching them play, maybe you do start to take note of some things in their games, and I thought his passing was great. I mean, Norridin will come to you. James Smith says in a super chat, do you guys think Ten Hag feels pressured to play Maguire ahead of Lindelof sometimes?
Yeah, 100%. Have you seen in every press conference, whether he's playing or not playing?
What are we basing this off? Is it purely because he's a captain of Manchester United, do you think?
It has to be.
And he's English as well.
Yeah.
Like,
there is an English bias.
Yeah, we live in England, so every journalist talks to him about Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, more than most other players, Harry Maguire, if you looked at the last 20 or 15 press conferences, before games, after games, Harry Maguire's name gets mentioned.
Adam.
Hold tight, Adam, and that one. So, that's what it is. But, Lindelof, the thing that what is in a lot of Manchester United memory and, football memories, like, once you see something, you just assume that that's the default because of the way we think, because there's so many games we played. But it's the PTSD from him because of those two partnership and McFred as well. So it was that central pit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
McTominay's, Fred, those two, Chuckle Brothers. That's what the Chuckle Brothers, all these things that have meaning. But we understand that obviously he's a better passer than him. And exactly, you picked up on it, Bob. Today, Beth, he stepped in. Beth, sorry.
Yes, bruv.
He stepped into positions where he was aggressive. He was more aggressive. He's thinking, no, I'm going to get that ball. And that pass that he did, and I think it was Sancho. If Sancho could have passed to Martial, he would have been one-on-one because he literally missed it and he placed it first time. So tidying it up, being undercover, doing what he needed to do 100%. And we agree, there is a disparity between him because he actually looks competent at times. But I think he's one of those players, when he plays with better players, he plays better.
Yeah.
Maguire plays with everybody else, everybody's levels.
The anchor.
It's that shakiness, isn't it? It breeds into the team, you can almost see it. And once Harry Maguire's head goes and he starts giving stupid back passes, trying to play the ball across his own box, putting people in danger, you kind of look. One of the worst things was him getting in was it the Euro Team of the Year that time? This is a guy who lives off the fumes of the past. He still bangs on about that now, as if that was a major achievement. Fair enough if you won the Euros with England or something. Then fair enough.
Did he get in the World Cup one as well at the end of the year? And he was spouting about that as well.
He shouldn't have even been in the World Cup team.
He has nothing to prove.
Moments.
That's what I say to you.
He has nothing to prove.
And that to me...
He's untouchable. It's crazy.
And that to me shows more than anything.
You have to prove yourself every week.
Exactly, and Man United. But the thing about it is an indictment on the way we've been run as a football club for the past decade and a half. Players used to before come to Manchester United as an opportunity to showcase their talent, to grow, to get better. Now, people come to Man United and go, I've made it. Yeah. And Maguire is never going to be captain in any team the size of Manchester United. He's never going to be playing like regularly the times that he played. And when people are like, oh yeah, him and his agent and that, because you know what, his agent owns a massive agency, PR, that's where he gets all the PR from. If you know, you know. If you know, you know where he gets a lot of his PR from. And the funniest thing for me, I think, he's like, oh yeah, he wants to go. I'm like, Harry, I promise you, you know, I've got my bike. I'm happy to give you a backie anywhere you want to go, mate. I'm happy, but I figure, who's going to pay you that money? Who's going to pay you that money? Manchester United to pay you. So this idea that he's tried to agitate.
7 years?
No, it was a long contract, but it's about 3 years, I think, left now.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
But anyway, he's tried to agitate, like, for a move. I'm like, honestly, that'd got a lot of cheer. That's for me anyway, because it's like that kid who's literally won the lottery.
Yeah, it is.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he's won the lottery, and that's when he starts to believe in his own hype. And I don't want to talk about it because I want to talk about the game, but yeah, Iceman today was the Iceman. Cool and calm, composed.
Well, quickly before we get going with the show, Kev, you are in Ricky's seat, the Godfather seat.
Yes.
He did send me a little voice note. I'm going to play it close to my mic. Hopefully he can pick it up. But it was on the Maguire and Lindelof situation.
More than happy with Maguire and Lindelof, by the way. You can hardly tell the difference. We've had torrid games against teams like that.
So basically, I won't keep it going on, but Ricky thought you could hardly tell the difference between Maguire and Lindelof and Varane and Martinez. Quickly, could you see a difference?
Night and day. Night and day.
I just wanted to get that in there for the
Maguire
chat.
was playing a different sport.
I mean, Lindelof was flawless.
Yeah.
I agree with that, but yeah, that was just craziness. But I wanted to get
You could see a mega big difference, a huge difference.
Varane.
It was not even up for debate. It was not
I mean,
close.
I-
If you're watching Ricky, put that whatever you're drinking down, son.
When I was get back to the party. when I was watching Maguire, this is the last thing I'm going to say on it. I was thinking, all the people that have criticised Varane recently, I was like, don't please, honestly.
It's like he's against us. It's like he's playing against us every time.
Alvito, as he says, the minute Maguire got the yellow card, I was like, he has to go. Yeah, he wasn't a good performance.
He's on a tightrope from the second minute. Is
But you know what? The only other decision the referee lets off. Did you see the second foul he committed?
Yeah.
Like, I thought.
yeah, we went.
When he
Ooh,
come in, yeah.
I was like, red.
he's off.
Matthew Holman says, hey Kev, a bit off topic, but do you get the chance to watch some films with Mark this weekend?
Don't even go there. Do not even start.
He's asked me to go afterwards. I don't know where he wants me to go.
What kind of films?
Don't even get into it.
What type
I
of
am not biting. I am not biting on this one. I've told you, it's in the hands of my lawyers at the minute. Been instructed to say no comment.
Thomas James says, post-match, Eriksen Hag spoke about not trusting Maguire at left-sided centre-back.
Just
Interesting.
trusting him
Can't trust
full
him
stop.
Oh my God, Ten Hag, right, another one from Thomas James. Ten Hag said on Sky Sports post-match that he trusts Lindelof as left-sided centre-back and right-sided centre-back because he's two-footed, but he does not trust Maguire as left-sided centre-back. Interesting take. Good. I mean...
He's actually said that.
Yeah, I mean, unless the Super Chat's lying.
But you know what's going to happen now is
Ten Hag, what a man.
Maguire's team will come out and say, yeah, he don't trust him at left centre-back because he trusts him fully at right centre-back. And this is the reason why I play there, because I'm the best at the club. I'm the captain, remember? I don't have to prove anything.
Yeah.
You couldn't trust that man to make a cup of tea.
No.
A few people still going on about the De Gea stuff. Guys.
Just tell everyone what you think.
Guys, his distribution, everyone said his distribution was good. His distribution was good today. It was very good today.
There's a couple of moments he gave the ball away, like he does in every game. It was a 6, wasn't it? It was an average performance.
His
he didn't do anything.
distribution wasn't special. It was good.
No.
It was good.
I'm trying to think back on watching the game, thinking, did he make any spectacular saves? Like, you know, the usual De Gea saves that where it's just like unbelievable. No, he didn't.
He didn't need to, though.
He didn't. He got bullied, and the reason why he gets targeted, because everybody knows he's a softie, and that's why they put 6, 7 in, swinging that ball in, because he doesn't come out. And there's one time when he claimed it, and I'm like, listen, Beth is getting a lot of stick. I used to be the David De Gea stand, because I remember going to that stadium under Van Gaal, Jose, and David Moyes, and honestly, for years, we would have been battling relegation if it wasn't for him. Right?
He got player of the year. What was it, about
4
years.
years.
I give him player of the year them years.
So,
I went on here about this.
But for me, where the divorce papers, where I had to get out, I had to resign from being a De Gea stand, was Billy Sharp bullying him during a lockdown. That to me is unacceptable, because I was saying it off camera before. I was saying David De Gea, when he first came in, was thin as a stick. It was an 18-year-old, whatever it was, 20-year-old, whatever it was. 4 or 5 months, when United conceded goals where the balls were good, and then he toughened up somehow, and then he was fighting and he was being aggressive. Fergie leaves, all of that goes, and that to me is unacceptable. I just want the biggest thing what I want is that, especially Man United, usually we're ahead in the game. When we come against a lot of the bottom teams or mid-table teams, they're going to swing the balls in. I want a guy who can, the biggest important thing, making good saves, but can you command, can you take the pressure of your centre-halves? Can you come and claim that? Can you go down in a drastic way that the referee blows his whistle and gives you a free kick? Can you do those things, the shithousery? And David De Gea does not know any of that shithousery.
Can you dictate your box is the main thing. It's like today, I mean, people are obviously entitled to their own opinions. What we were both trying to say, and you encapsulated it perfectly there, is he was getting targeted off every set piece, every single set piece, and they're bullying him and all on the ball. And people thinking, they're saying it on commentaries, it's not like a new thing. It happens, any team does that because they know it's a weakness.
Yeah, I've not seen a 6-yard box as packed out in professional football as much as I've seen in that game today. It's clearly a game plan, and like you say, the rest of the league are starting to catch on to it and starting to target De Gea for that. I said to you, Nordin, though, I think he needs more protection. I think the centre-backs are a little bit weak and the players around him are a little bit weak to allow all that to happen. They need to be a bit stronger because they know his weaknesses. His teammates need to help him. But, yeah, I agree with you. He had an average performance today. But I will say, one thing I think you need to do now, because you're getting a lot of unfair flack, just make a video about 5 centre-backs that will replace Maguire and everyone will love you again. It'll be fine.
But it's not even that. I just, you know what, last part I just said about De Gea, for me, I look at him and think, what kind of a goalkeeper do you want? I want a keeper who's always on his toes and who's always about and he's part of the action. I want a goalkeeper like that. I don't want De Gea just to usually, from free kicks and corners, he just stays on his line. Yeah, he does make amazing saves with his feet and his hands, but is he active, punching? Are you coming out relieving the pressure? Can you relieve the pressure? That is a massive part of the game for me. And obviously the Ten Hag way, the modern way, you have to be able to use your feet.
Distribution.
You have to be able to use your feet.
It's so important.
But the worldies, David De Gea will always be that worldy kind of goalkeeper.
I mean, another clean sheet. That's one thing that you can throw into the equation, and I suppose you'd say that is the main thing at the end of the day. And I am going to move on to a lot of people in the chat saying about Bruno and Eriksen because they are class performances. But firstly, while we are on the defence side of things, Kev, I'll come to you on this one. I thought one of the reasons why Lindelof did so well was because Dalot was brilliant at left back, and also Wan-Bissaka coming into that midfield. Every single game I'm saying it. Yeah. Don't sell him. I love this guy. Don't sell him. But thoughts on both the fullbacks, because obviously Dalot, we know he can play left back, but it's not his usual position.
Gets his goal today as well, which was quite a rare one. Absolute fantastic ball through to him. He's done a job again. I think the tricky thing with today's game is, again, I touched on before about having one eye on Thursday. Ten Hag's obviously we want the 3 points like you touched on earlier. It's a major thing with both Newcastle and Tottenham slipping up. But it's almost like a bit of an audition for Thursday night and to try something out because he hasn't got much time now until Thursday. So to play Dalot in that position, Wan-Bissaka carries on great form. We've spoke about it on here before saying this looks like a man who wants to stay at Manchester United. He's certainly going to fight to stay at Manchester United. And I just think the injury to Sabitzer, I mean, when you look at that midfield, having Christian Eriksen walk back, what's that first kind of full 90 minutes, isn't it? Yeah. It's just class, absolutely class. And I know I'm sat in this seat and Ricky would usually say, we're not going to miss this person, somebody else will come in and that. Class, he's just different gravy, isn't it, altogether? And as a defender, when you've got the likes of, even if it is a Maguire and a Lindelof, to look up ahead and see a Bruno Fernandes and Eriksen, who is going to hold that ball up, they don't give it away needlessly. It's not the same confidence as when, let's say, a Fred and a McTominay are, ahead of you. You've got ball-carrying players there in Fernandes and Eriksen. I thought Eriksen, considering he's not played a full game, was just brilliant. Yeah. Really fantastic. Everything he did was positive, and that's a positive for Thursday night, looking at it. You think, God, the gods are against us with Sabitzer getting injured in the warm-up, but it gives me a little bit more confidence now. And the fact he's been able to bring off Martial at that time, because we sat there, didn't we, and we thought, this is a bit like Thursday night, but he's got it right this evening because it's worked out for him. But he's managed to bring Martial off and bring Weghorst on, which we raised eyebrows and thought, seriously, is it that time already? But he knows Martial. He's obviously working this out. He knows he's his number one striker for Thursday evening. So unlike the Sevilla game, it's worked out perfectly for him today.
I'll just touch on the fullbacks. I mean, Wan-Bissaka for me he couldn't do any more than what's being asked of him from this manager. Everyone thought he was dead in the water in January. He was definitely going to be leaving. The summer, he was going. And I think it clearly shows that Ten Hag has so much faith and trust in his footballing ability. He's the only fullback that we have that is allowed to progress with the ball up in the middle of the park as he does. And he's so clever at finding a bit of space to pass on to Antony or passes in midfield. I think he's performing to an unbelievable
In fairness to Wan-Bissaka, this comes down to coaching, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
We can criticise Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the setup at Manchester United at that time, but it was clear that over that period of time when Solskjaer was in charge, there was no players that, sort of went upwards in where you were looking and thinking this player's getting better and better. It was just steady along the line. Absolutely. You weren't thinking this player's improving, this player's putting in these kind of. But under Ten Hag now, Mitchell van der Gaag, Steve McLaren, the numbers are coming out from Rashford, 28 for the season. Yeah. You're seeing the likes of Dalot, Wan-Bissaka. These are all players that are gradually getting better before our eyes. Definitely. And even the players that he signed, some people still argue that Antony, and I always say that is not his fault that United spent that money on him. He's coming good. What is he, 22 years old? Antony will come good. I was listening, there was a Dutch journalist on the other day and he was saying Ten Hag trusts him, but even at Ajax, he was a bit raw. He's a raw talent, but Ten Hag knows what he can get from him. And he said in big games, he will produce big moments. Yeah. And that's something that will come with time. And in fairness to Antony, he's had a different partner on that side of the field, hasn't he? He's changed quite a bit. Yeah. So once he gets them little partnerships going, that's when you'll see the likes of Antony really hit form. But he was fantastic today as well.
The biggest thing what I noticed, like what we were killing them today actually is that positioning he takes up in the midfield. Like vacates the two centre half split. Dalot, one of them obviously stays, so there's a three at the back. Yeah. And that's the Ten Hag way of playing really. He's always have three just at the back and then people getting into higher positions. But I feel the chemistry between Wan-Bissaka and Antony is a lot better than Dalot and Antony. Yeah. Right?
I agree with you. Even though Dalot and Antony seem to be really good friends, it's weird, isn't it?
It's weird. But the way they play, they just understand each other because they're both mavericks, innit? They're both off the cuff, so that's why it works when it shouldn't really work, but it works. I remember saying that when Ten Hag came in, obviously, because knowing about his coaching methods and how he's a coach, and that's what the most thing I was excited about. We're getting a coach, a guy that actually does work on the training ground. Because since Van Gaal, we've not had a guy like that who literally puts the fundamentals down on the training ground. And I thought that Wan-Bissaka, and I always say that across all young players anyway. My rule in football is never prejudge young players because sometimes you assume a lot about young players, but because they've got a ceiling, they still got to learn, a lot to learn. And the thing about Wan-Bissaka is that before he became a right back at Crystal Palace, he was a winger. Yeah. He was a fair winger. Yeah. And then one day they were just like, oh, he's good at getting back. And the way he tackles is very unorthodox. If you've ever been coached, honestly, whatever, like if I was coaching a young kid, I would say to them, don't go to ground, stay on your feet. Show whoever, if they go left foot or right foot.
You should be doing last ditch challenges.
Show them that side. You shouldn't be saying last result is to slide. If they're about to shoot, they try to make a space. But he tackles, he knows, and it works. But what is his athleticism. And that today, the two balls that, the passes that were the outlet was on that side, and that's the way to kill them. Honestly, if you check my Twitter, I said, Nottingham Forest are very narrow. Go wide, that's the way you're going to get joy today. And Antony on that side and Wan-Bissaka, both of them, they actually locked that down. Yeah. And the other thing is that we took away from their threat. Their threat is Johnson. Yeah. It's Gibbs White and Johnson. Gibbs White on the turn, on the transition, and then hitting Johnson. And it was Diego and Lindelof there. Yeah. So we shut that down. Did you ever see him even have a shot? Or like?
I wanted to say about Dalot, I think he deserves a lot of praise today for his performance because
he actually looks better
Brennan Johnson,
on the left.
Brennan Johnson, he caused us so much problems in that game in the League Cup. Despite us winning 3-0, he was really dangerous and he could have scored a goal or two. And I think today we nullified him really well. Dalot needs a lot of praise for doing that, despite, as we'll probably touch on, Sancho not exactly helping out a lot. And there was a lot to be said about Sancho's work rate. And I feel we've had words about him before. I think that conversation will be coming again soon.
It'll be coming up. It's on my list.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Dalot and Antony actually did combine for that goal, and it was a really, really nice piece of play. But
Brilliant.
that's, again, it wasn't on the right-hand side of the pitch as what we've seen them fail at before. It was more in the middle left side of the pitch, and Antony in that little pocket of space, like you said, it was
The ball from Antony was better than the finish.
Honestly.
You know,
Honestly.
sometimes people that assist goals, you know, don't really get the plaudits for it. But I said at the time to use, you know, I just watched the weight of pass, the way it split the defence. You know, he's put him in what was a tight kind of situation to play that ball in. You know, Dalot, yes, it's a great finish, but I still think the ball through was exceptional. It's better than the finish. That was worth a goal in itself.
We think alike. We think. Check my Twitter out. I put Antony, you little magician. I didn't even mention Dalot scoring. I just put Antony because he's got it in him. I don't know. I'm trying to think. It was a game in the FA Cup. I think he set through. I think it was Casemiro. Casemiro scored, and it was exactly similar.
Yeah.
So sometimes he holds the width, yeah. But he's got that level of dribbling skills when he's got space. He can drive in and he can play those cute little passes as a left footer. And that bamboozles any defence because you got runners. But the run and the pass, any little either way, too much pace on it, not enough direction.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That pass, honestly, is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I feel like he was like, you know, everyone's huffing and puffing that I keep taking long range shots. Well, here's an assist then. You know what I mean?
But we need him, actually, we need him to come central more because I think he's dangerous more other than taking those shots. Because I was accusing him being super greedy against Sevilla. I thought, why are you being greedy? There's passes there and you're just trying to do the same thing. And my only thing about him when he shoots is that he's so transparent. If I'm at the game or watching at home, I can see, forget what the goalkeeper sees, I can see by his body shape where he's going to shape to shoot.
Shift and curve.
Yeah. I'm like, no, you should all drill it. It's called a snooker shot, innit? Drill it into the bottom half. Have that little different variation so then goalkeeper doesn't think, oh, let the goalkeepers worry about what side you're going. Don't be so transparent in your body language.
And the chances are, if you know what he's going to do, then the defenders do as well. Because they're going to work it out very quickly.
Goalkeepers know.
Yeah.
Especially if he's like in that spot where he likes to, you know, cut inside, you know, fake shot and then like, you know, put that little through ball.
That's
through
what we've said though, haven't we? Mix it up. It's all about mixing up. He's still got that in his locker.
Very close though. Like,
yeah,
the Saka, that block, I was like, really? I thought it was going.
No word of a lie, I'm going to remind you, player Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney used to love those bends where he used to be out of his right foot, bend it. Wayne Rooney throughout the years at Man United, drilling it, cutting it back. You know what I mean? Cutting it back to the bottom corner, to this side, other than going for that. And then goalkeepers used to think, oh, what side is he going to go? And that will come. That will come. Yeah. That will come with a bit of coaching. But to be fair to him, I look at him and think, you've been in the country for 8 months. You went on strike. You were injured before Man United, you know what I bought you. Like, so all in all, his goal contribution, his assists, I'm sorry, but like for his first season, he's actually doing great. And I think some of United fans, we get rattled by rival fans who, when he has a bad game or he does those little spins or whatever, and then we get rattled because in this team, we don't have many players who can do what he can do. And for me, against Brentford, I gave him man of the match, right? I was doing a fan cam with Adam and people were like, what are you talking? I'm like, no, because defensively, that was his best performance as a Man United shirt. He shot that Brentford side down, and people don't understand that is part of football.
One of our more important players, I would say, like especially the way he's come, like in recent games, like he's actually been playing well throughout the whole 90 minutes, and defensively. I think he just keeps getting better and better, which is really good. We've got a couple of super chats in. Robin Goddard said, keep clean sheets first for Golden Glove and still the hate. I mean, come on. DJ John T says, cheers to you all from Sweden. Glazers out. HKN Music says, we need to create more chances for our striker. That being said, Martial needs to finish that header, but overall good game. I know, but that was only the really only clear-cut chance he got. Alan Kenny says, this was a great result, but we are down to the bare bones. Lindelof was brilliant. Casse looked off it, which is a worry. I don't think
Casemiro was good.
I didn't think Casemiro looked at all.
It's one of the reasons why we dominated the midfield.
Do you know?
Yeah, we'll bring it onto the midfield actually, because we'll start talking about that. I mean, Kev, that last minute change from Sabitzer to Eriksen, but like Nuruddin says, you never want anyone to get injured. I was really excited to see Sabitzer again, but Eriksen, he was back to prime Christian Eriksen today. Him and Bruno were running right in that midfield, weren't they?
Oh, the resurrection. Like I say, I don't know what more to say about him. I remember kind of being on here when we signed him. Remember, was it when Brentford beat us? When Eriksen played for Brentford at the time. We all looked at it after it, and when the news come out that his contract was up in the summer, it was. I said, I think I was asked a question. I was like, "This is an absolute no-brainer." We're pissing around with McTominay and Fred in midfield, and you've got an Eriksen coming up for nothing. It wasn't even up for debate. It was like, if there is a sniff that you can get him, you go out and do it. And fair play, Manchester United did it. We knew that this was an area of the field that we've needed investment in for ages. I said at the time when we signed it, Jadon Sancho, I thought that money could have been used in a better area at that time. I couldn't believe that we spent that money on it. I was just looking at the middle of the park, and then bang, like a bus, two come along, at once. You wait however long, and then two come along at once. We get Casemiro and Eriksen. And the dynamics of the midfield just changed totally. I don't mean any disrespect to Fred and McTominay. I think you make great points there, saying about these little sort of cliques, and people do tarnish them, don't they? But they are squad players, and when you break them up and mix, I don't know, let's say a McTominay in with a Casemiro for a game, horses for courses or whatever, you will get away with it because you've got a dictator and a leader in Casemiro. It's when it's Fred and McTominay, we kind of look and go, nah, this ain't going to work. The same with Maguire and Lindelof, But yeah, it's Eriksen, fantastic. It's just class. He really is.
I want to give a big shout to Bruno. I want to thank Usman as well for sitting here and lambasting Bruno after the Fulham game and what he said. Absolutely went on a rampage about him, because since then, Bruno has been everything that we have wanted. He must have been listening. He must be watching.
Bruno watches the United stand.
Oh, he has to. It's the best channel in the world, isn't it? Obviously. But he's been everything that we've wanted in a midfielder. Everything he's doing now is what we want Bruno to be. He's a leader, and he just looks revitalised. And to say he's playing every single game, and he just looks on it, and he looks sharp, clever, and he's bringing other players in and making them play better around him. It needs to be spoken about.
Do you know the last show, Beth? What was it you said you were worried about Sevilla because he's going to be missing? We're going to miss Bruno.
We will.
And I actually sat there and said I wasn't that worried. I said I don't think we'll miss him that much. Yeah, I might have got that one wrong. On reflection of today's game, I do look and think, he's going to be a huge, huge miss.
I just want to quickly say before I come to you, Nuruddin. Honestly, I think it was a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if it was when Osman was there and he was berating me about Bruno. And I stuck up for him as I always do because he's my favourite player. I think I said a couple of weeks ago, I said, Casemiro's been excellent. Martinez has been unbelievable this season. Like, we've had some brilliant players. But I'm telling you now, he's the most important player in that team.
He's the captain. He's the
captain. Because he's the captain.
Mm.
Ryan just said Ricky's rubbing off on me. I'm telling you now. He's the captain for starters. He never misses a game. He's never injured. He always shows up. Even if he has a bad game, he'll contribute somehow, or he'll run his socks off. He's a fighter.
The criticism of him comes from people when they say he gives the ball away and that. He's a risk taker. Yeah. He's in that position where he's looking to thread balls through. He's not going to have 100% pass completion. To be honest, stats don't really do it for me anyway. The main one is at Manchester United. That is the biggest stat for me, that United have won 2-0 today.
Well, if you want to talk about stats, since Bruno debuted at Manchester United, from that time frame to now, the only player in Europe that has more goals and assists than him is Messi. And that is mad.
Wow.
That is mental. And people,
I just said stats don't do it for me. That's actually just done it for me. Wow.
He's so underrated. I still see him underrated by so many players. So not players, but so many, fan bases. Our fan base, opposite fan bases.
Yeah.
Honestly, people need to start looking up. I agree with you. In the last few weeks, he's been a lot better, and in that deep role, he's been class as well. But him and Eriksen now, you got the band back together. I mean, Nuruddin, are you happy?
You know what? I'm happy. It's really weird, isn't it? Because I see what people mean by him giving a ball. When Bruno plays in number 10, and because what people don't understand is that once you transition a style of play, our style of play was transitional, counter-attacking football, risk-taking, and that's what it was. That's why he was getting the goals and the assists, right? We play slightly different to the way that Oli was playing and the way that the team was set up under Jose. You know what I mean? That's what the team was. Jose, Oli, it was quick transitional play, that kind of play. Ten Hag plays a totally different kind of style of football. So obviously, you have to change and adapt. But I'm not going to lie to you, but I agree with you. He's been one of the most consistent players for me.
Brilliant. And
trust me, I'm not one of these players that has favourite players. And I used to be Martial, chairman of Martial FC. For me, if you can't stay fit, I'm done.
Pass the crown over.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm done. I'm done, honestly. But Bruno, for me, this season has to play on the right, has to play on the left, has to play on deeper. Like, I always say, the reason why he never misses a game, because I actually think that it's written in blood. He'd probably cut himself and then wrote in blood. I can never be subbed. I have to start every game.
And when you do sub, you look good.
yeah. Listen, like, I have to play every game, and that's what it is. But to me, because you look at his frame, you don't think he's an athlete.
It's
but
mad,
he must have lungs. I think about sometimes, I think, how are you playing? And at times, you see him sprinting back to cover. I don't know what game it was. It was one of the games, I was at Old Trafford, one of the games, I think it might have been, I think it was Everton, playing a deeper Everton. It was a transition, the ball breakdown, and it was Damari Gray. So I'm like, when that ball, I'm like, oh my God, it's Bruno, you know what I mean? It's not someone. I'm like, he put the burners on, and like, full slide tackle, gets the ball out for throwing, and I'm like, yes, he's got that in him. So for me, he's been one of the players of the season. For me, my captain is Lisandro Martinez, and that's why I'm being devastated. I've been absolutely down and out. People are like, what's wrong with you? They're like, oh, is it football again? Like, yeah.
You said you were crying, didn't you?
Honestly, I got emotional. Because I was like, I can't believe it. Like, him, of all people. Like I said, no other player has ever given me the feeling when I go to Old Trafford, it's going to be all right because Martinez is there. Yeah. He is a man. If people go, what's a Manchester United player? He is.
Yeah.
He is everything and more. He is everything and more. So, Bruno, this season has been absolutely phenomenal. I think for the team, the way we've been playing, the only thing is that because we're playing so many competitions, so many games, that, at times, there's going to be a dip in form and across all of the team.
Because he's consistently just available every
Exactly,
single game.
and that's what it is. But the thing about Eriksen is that I love Eriksen for 50, 60 minutes, but sometimes he drops, and against the top team, just to be objective, Kev, against the top teams, I think we're too open. Because if Casemiro was young, the thing about Casemiro as well, he's not got the pace to cover the ground like he would like 5 years ago at Real Madrid. He's not that guy anymore, so he can't cover. So we are a little bit weaker when I see that, and that's why a Fred, who's a high pressing number 8, comes in.
And this is where you can have these combinations where you can mix these players in. You don't just go, oh, Fred and McTominay, but you can mix it in. You could play Fred, Eriksen, whoever.
But in terms of winning the ball, like today, you saw him. At times, you think he's playing in a back 3. He was saying to Lindelof, to Maguire, to Diego Dalot, give me the ball. Like, how refreshing it is when people go about McTominay hiding or Fred first touch. How refreshing it is to have somebody of Eriksen can receive it on the back foot, the front foot, can take it on his left, can take it on his right, and then just, it's like effortless. What players like him do in football is difficult because football at its best is simple. Yeah. It's not complicated. And that's what he does.
And I think with Paul Scholes famously said that, didn't he? He said football's a simple game. What is it? Made complicated by idiots. We're probably the idiots then, aren't we? Nice one, Scholes.
It's sad about Sabitzer as well. Like you say, we was really excited to see him. He's getting into a little bit of form. And it's really a shame. Hopefully it's nothing serious and he's back soon because we really do need him now. And it's nice that we have this mix of midfielders that can combine and drop in and drop out and all play to a level that we're not used to for a long time at Manchester United. But I have to say to Eriksen, please keep the beard because you're like, the reincarnation coming back with it, mate. It's unbelievable.
The little tweak in midfield that you just touched on.
He's had a break as well for once. Maybe that's nice.
That's nice. We need it. We need him there because he's an unbelievable player. He's so clever, so smart, and he does everything. Even though you don't notice what he's doing, he's making the team tick, and it's them players that you need.
But even the tweak in the midfield, was it Everton the first time we saw it, where Sabitzer was kind of played in this number 10, Bruno dropped deep. First 10 minutes of that match, I was on air after it, and I said, I could not believe that they didn't stick anyone on Bruno. Bruno sitting deep, spraying them passes like a quarterback or something. He was just, and the more I watched it, I thought, they'll suss this out in a minute, they're going to stick somebody on him, No, and 90 minutes of just tearing them apart.
But, being in the stadium, I'm sure some of you were in the stadium. I was looking at thinking, I have never seen an Everton team push so high. Do you know why? They had Iwobi, Onana, and Idrissa Gueye, and they thought they could bully our midfield. Yeah. But Bruno took that away from them. And the reason why they pushed the high line, the game plan, was that, they've got Sabitzer, they've got Bruno, and who else was it? Was it McTominay? Yeah, McTominay. Yeah. You can bully them. They didn't. We bullied them, and that's why we created the most chances any game Old Trafford this season.
Yeah, in the first half, what was it, 20-odd shots?
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
What other creative... I know, like, there's obviously players that are really suited to different positions, but this is why I say, as an all-round midfielder, he's one of the best, because what other all-round midfielder could play? You know, Cam 1 week, like you said, right wing, then he's playing deep, and he's playing them all to a really, really good standard. So that's why I think he deserves a lot of praise, and that's why I'd take him over some other really big names in my midfield, because I know he can do everything. It's
a sign of a very, very good footballer, that. Somebody, for starters, that don't spit his dummy out, because Wayne Rooney, you know, when we had the likes of Ronaldo, Tevez or whatever, he was sometimes pushed out onto the right. Yeah. You know, Rooney would have played anywhere. Yeah. Rooney would have played in net. You know, he didn't care. He was always struck me as this kind of child, didn't he? Just wanted to play. Street
playing
football, whatever. Yeah.
But as well as that, not only is he technically good to do it, his football IQ.
Yeah, he's got it up here.
He's top level, and he deserves all the praise he's getting right now, Bruno, because captain. He might not wear the armband every week, but he is this club's captain, and he shows every single game that he is a quintessential Manchester United.
But for Manchester United to go and challenge for Champions League and league titles, Bruno needs somebody to challenge him.
Yeah,
we need people
because at this point, I've said it so many times. I mean, someone in the chat just said then, Bruno needs to be rested. He needs resting at some point. He needs competition, and you know, games like he's suspended, we need to be able to get by. I really hope I'm wrong, but I'm really worried about Sevilla.
He's going to get a rest Thursday, but hopefully Chris coming back and showing with the beard that he's the man. Sabitzer comes back as well. We play Casemiro. Let's just hope. But Fred could come in and do it. Well, hopefully Fred could come in and do a job.
Was it a twinge? If it's a twinge, I can say.
You've got to hope it's precautionary.
No, Fred's nursing an injury, by the way.
We'll see.
That's why they're not playing him as much.
Ten Hag on Antony after the game. He can use his right. He has to do it more, but you can also go outside. He's also so good on the inside. Robin, they say he only has one trick, but that one trick was brilliant and no one can stop it. If you go both ways, you have more variation. So even Ten Hag comparing him to a little bit to Robin there. He loves him, doesn't he?
I call him the fella from the favela because I absolutely love him. I give him a little nickname. I love him that much. But I think what I've noticed in the last couple of games is using that right foot. The one criticism I had, I wasn't seeing enough development in him going the other way and using his right foot. You're starting to see that now, so he's starting to learn, he's starting to improve and evolve, and I think we've got a really class, dangerous player on our hands.
He's a fighter from the favela, though, he is.
We've only got 8 minutes of the show left, and I want to talk about some more stuff.
Seriously?
So quickly, whoever wants to take this one, a little bit on Sancho, because I put a tweet out saying, you know, what thoughts on Sancho's performance today. A couple of weeks ago, he had a really good performance. I can't remember what it was. And then it's like, Sancho will have a good performance, then it'll be nothing. Good performance, nothing. Like, first half today, I thought nothing from him. Second half, I thought it was quite a lot better. I mean, thoughts on Sancho's future and that?
For me, today, I like his body language, other than that one time where he didn't track back. Yeah. But in terms, you can see he's trying. Today, he wanted the ball, and to be fair to him, he made lots of good runs off the ball, and sometimes Bruno and Eriksen didn't release it. They didn't release it. But there was a bit more from him, that him wanting the ball and asking for the ball. But to me, you have to track back, mate. Yeah. You have to track back. I don't care how many runs you've made. I don't care how much you had the ball. Today, a couple of times, he took the wrong decision. To be fair, he flashed a couple of balls across the box and nobody were to tap it in. And by the way, Sabitzer that kind of guy who would run from deep to go and tap goals in. That's what he does.
Sancho should have this in him now, though. He's not a young kid, is he? We're talking about a fundamental thing of a footballer there. You know, I won't repeat what you said in the pub about Sancho when he didn't track back because we'll get shut down. But you know, it is a fundamental, and you should be doing that now. Unless you're blowing and you signal to the bench, I need taking out this game. You know, I'm dead on my feet or whatever. But I worry about little things like that. I know we call it nitpicking or whatever.
No, it's not. It's
fundamentals. Yeah, because of his age as well. He's not a young kid. Well, he's played this role how many times?
The thing is, though, you talk about Antony being young, 22, 23. He's the exact same age. Yeah. Antony's actually older than Sancho. And I think we need to be, again, it's patience, and we can see the fundamentals are in him. He's got everything there. But what he needs to do is look around him, and especially look on the other wing.
I was going to say, look over at the other side.
See what Antony's doing, because Antony gets far more flack than what Sancho does. Sancho is protected, and again, maybe that is the passport or whatever it is.
Yes.
So he has to. Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but he just has to look at the other side, see what Antony's doing, and Antony's really turning it on now, and he says, "I'm a similar profile player to you. I need to be doing what you're doing and learning from you because you are doing the job." And you're getting the praise. I need to be acting the same way as you. And he's been caught out once before this season, and it cost us a goal in not tracking back and not helping his fullback. That needs to be solved straight away. There's no excuse for being lazy and not getting back. But I love Jadon Sancho. I think he's got everything to be a success. We spoke about it on here before. He's the only one for me that's lagging and not improving under Ten Hag. We're seeing glimpses, we're not seeing enough, and he needs to step up quickly because these players that will come back in the team and he'll be on the bench again.
There is going to become a breaking point for Ten Hag where to call it the end of the season, but he is going to have to make a call on this. We know that Ten Hag didn't sign Jadon Sancho. I like him. Listen, exactly what you said, I would back up and say exactly, and that's where you start looking at this now, looking for his team for next season. Yeah, let's get through. But, you know, Ten Hag might make, you know, a big call at the end of the season where he goes, do you know what? Let's sell him.
Just to be objective, I do think that when we become more possession team, that he would be the type of guy that
uses the ball well, keeps possession.
Right. Yeah. And I think that the more we transition to the Ten Hag way of playing, where we keep the ball, we're a better passing team, that he would come in. But for me, it's like, listen, doing it at Old Trafford in front of 75,000, you know what I mean, people all supporting you. To me, the mark of a forward, especially wide forward, is the mark of a Man United player, in my opinion. Can you do it? Do you want the ball in away games when you got the ref, the crowd, everybody's up against it? Do you want that ball? And then do you then fight back? Because I'm sorry, but I'm one of those spoiled, rotten people. I remember Giggs and Beckham. I remember me going sneak into that stadium and seeing Giggs and Beckham doing an absolute shift, up and down. And to me, if you play wide for Man United, I'm sorry, the culture is there already. So if you can't, away from home, Man United are winning 1-0, and you're letting your fullback go. And then it's all because modern football is about overloads. It's about creating the overloads. So you can't, it's like five-a-side. The best five-a-side players, everybody gets them. You can't let your man go. You cannot let your player go. And to me, that was the key thing. And these two will tell you what happened when I saw that, because that's unacceptable.
It's been said about him that he's a luxury player in a team that can't afford a luxury. Maybe there's a hint of truth in that. I hope it's not.
But modern football, you can't carry anybody.
You cannot. But he's a great player and he needs.
He's not bringing enough for to be a luxury player, to be honest with you. And it's like, what I want to see is some aggression. Like, you know what, Antony gets. I want to see a little shove here and there. I want to see I want
to see that South London man. I want to see the South London in him.
Needs to come out.
I am slightly worried though.
I do see more potential person to be a Premier League player. Yeah. But then I look at Sancho and I can see the potential's there. I know it's in him. It's just bring it out.
It's just whether you can get it out.
To be fair, today, more than anything, he wasn't coming inside a lot because, like I said, no word of a lie. If you watched Nottingham Forest, they play super narrow. 4-3-3 is one of the super 4-3-3 narrow shapes that I see any team playing. So all of the space was out wide, and that's a tactic from Ten Hag, stay wide. But I actually do see him transitioning to our kind of number 10. Yeah. I really think that.
Physicality.
But this is what I'm saying. But when you get you get bulk up, don't you? And that's what he has to learn. He has to learn to be physical. And my only other about him is that he's one of the easiest to possess, to get the ball off. Antony will put his body on the line, let you kick him. It's very difficult to get the ball off Antony. You have to really be super aggressive. But Jadon Sancho, sometimes I look at him, I think, put your body. You're too easy to dispossess. Yeah. Put your body. You shouldn't be. You're one of the most technically gifted footballers that we have. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Win more fouls.
Win those fouls.
Win more. Be one of those people.
Antony does it brilliantly. Antony does it all the time. He needs to do the same.
He doesn't win many. He doesn't win many fouls.
Yeah. Being street smart and streetwise kind of thing in the football terms.
But Kev, the weirdest thing, he's a street footballer. He's a cage footballer.
From South London. Yeah, it's mad. It's mad.
Well, the show is literally just about to be over, but before we finish the show, we always do man of the match. So, Double A, I'll start with you.
It has to be the fella from the favela. Antony was. There was a couple today, but scored a goal, got an assist. Yeah, number 21 for me, Antony, all the way.
The fella from the favela.
I love it.
Sounds like one of them dodgy films that everyone says I've been watching.
Now, actually, he's got a tattoo saying the favela, and he never wants to forget where he's come from. So big up to him. I think for that pass alone, for me, gets you man of the match. That was a magician. That was
beautiful.
So you going
pass.
Antony?
Antony for me. But Bruno, Eriksen, even Martial, I thought held the ball up at times. There are many different. Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka. Today there was about 7 or 8 players that played really well.
Yeah. And it's nice that we're in this position that we've got so many players that have had a great game, because you think through past games, you know, we've sat here and struggled to pick a man of the match. You know, there's been that many awful performances, but hopefully we're starting to peak just at the right time, because it's some running now, isn't it? These next few weeks, it really is make or break for our season.
Can we count? It's about 11 players injured, actually.
It's crazy.
A lot of people in the chat are saying Sancho needs to take a leaf out of Jack Grealish's book.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Jack Grealish is so physical now. He's like, I mean, he's undroppable in that City team. Like, he's doing brilliant. Like, if you look at the 2 players, like, you know, you've got to step it up. But Kev, he's your man of the match.
I've got to agree on Antony. For me, it was close between Antony, Bruno, and Eriksen.
Me too.
Yeah. But again, you've absolutely nailed it. The pass, that pass. I can't wait to see it again. I remember the Cantona pass against Tottenham years ago for Dennis Irwin. You know, I know it's slightly different. It was almost like, you know, a golf shot, wasn't it? You know, out the bunker. It was just a thing of pure beauty. But like I said, I thought the pass was even more impressive than the goal. The weight of pass.
And not even at the time in the game we needed it, because they just rode all that storm. Yeah. There was about 10 minutes where we just camped them in, and we're missing chance after chance. And then the goal comes, and we needed a second. You see them getting deflated after that.
They made them changes. Attacking changes. They felt like something was in the game for them, and we killed it dead, which was brilliant, perfect timing. But Antony, he was.
It's all about game management. It's about possessional football. Some people go off their heads about this, but in fairness to Ricky, he does always say it's like when you've got the ball, the other team can't hurt you. Yeah. Now, if there isn't an opportunity not to play a pass, spread the play, keep the ball. You know, as long as you have got it, and wait for the opportunity, and that reflected today with that goal, that second goal, because it was the build-up play. It was patient, and then all of a sudden you wait for the right opportunity. It comes, and when it comes off like that, it just looks it's mint. Brilliant. That's what I'll say. It does.
I mean, Antony's up there for me, but to go for something a little bit different, I'm going to go with Bruno, because I thought his passing in the final third was brilliant. That goal, that nearly goal of the season.
He could have had a couple of goals.
I mean, that header he should have scored, definitely. But then I saw him like getting crosses in from the left. Next thing you know, he's whizzing crosses across from the right. Like, he's everywhere. So I'm going to go Bruno, but Antony was close, Eriksen was close, and Ricky's man of the match, he actually sent it me, so I thought I'll shout it out. Ricky's man of the match was Victor Lindelof, which is a fair shout, to be fair.
You play well,
that's fine.
Yeah.
But the midfield dominated, and they weren't tested that much. That's the only thing to say.
Great display.
That is true. I mean, Sevilla on Thursday, roll on then. Let's go. And you know what, as well, I'll shout Faz out, because Faz obviously was gutted. We got with the foreign mix-up, and he has a picture of Dalot like every single week. Dalot finally scores, and Dalot goes to the crowd. I told you. After Faz has been there, like, Dalot, like, step up, come on. and he's not even here to see it out. So, you know, credit.
Big up Faz. Big up Faz.
Anyway, thank you so much, Double A, for being on the forum. Nuruddin as well, some great takes, and of course, Kev, as usual, thank you as well.
Thank you very much.
The hour went by. We didn't even get to do our Sevilla preview.
I popped my cherry. Hey, that's it. Popped my cherry.
Oh, we've not done Nuruddin a rating. We'll have to give you a 10, obviously.
I never got one at my debut, so that's fine.
I thought we give you a 7.
A steady 7.
Hey, that's more than you give De Gea, so it's
fine. Drum roll.
I never give 10s out as well, apart from to everyone else. Thank you for coming on, and thank you to all the comments as well. Some really good ones in tonight, and all the super chats as per usual. Thank you for putting them in the chat. 3 points on a Sunday afternoon. You've got to love it. And we've got Sevilla on Thursday. It's going to be tough. But as Eriksen said, they're going to go there and fight, and they're going to go and try and get revenge. And we will be here on the forum afterwards, so make sure you join us with all the matchday content. But thank you for watching, everyone. Make sure you hit a like on the video and subscribe on your way out. We'll see you on the next one.